when I first came over here, I started with ultrasound education and trying to implement an ultrasound program into the division and into the department. And then from there, I had some research interests and some questions that I wanted to try to answer by doing research on them, all on ultrasound. And little by little segued into this vast realm of research. And so now I've actually become the research director of the division. And I also see patients, and I also teach ultrasound when I can. WashU has a tremendous pedigree of mainly basic science research, and now lately some more clinical sciences research. And the one area that I think is ripe for growth is emergency care research. And we like to think of ourselves as playing on all the strengths of this great institution, being able to collaborate and play on all the expertise that's here in order to grow this sort of fledgling field right now. So one of the things that we like to focus on is really leveraging the strengths of the institution and the cross-cultural collaborations and turning that into something that can hopefully propel us forward in the future in terms of emergency care research. Have I found collaboration easy? Absolutely. I always find that as difficult as the question is, there, number one, always seems to be somebody who can answer your question. And number two, and this is surprisingly, they always seem vested and interested in either taking your question and making it a better question or helping you develop your question into something that's meaningful and can take impact. And I don't think I've ever walked up to someone who basically shut the door on me and said, not interested. Everyone's either been interested or if they themselves couldn't help me, pointed me on to someone who could help me. So how do I interact with residents within the scope of research? Well, the first thing I do is I turn into their point person for any questions they may have or any questions really that they want to develop. And the second thing I do is say, hey, you know, if you don't have any questions and you want to see sort of what research does and how you can participate, I welcome them into any of our projects. And that way they get an exposure to what it takes to really do well thought out, well organized research. What gets me out of bed in the morning? Well, I love and dream about innovation. And for me, emergency medicine is really about problem solving. And sometimes that requires innovation, sometimes it doesn't. But to me, research is sort of a natural extension. I think in general, emergency care and emergency physicians and emergency care researchers are always open to trying new things if they think that they really work. And to me, there's nothing better than being able to say, hey, why don't we try this way? And then seeing the joy and excitement of someone's practice change after they adopt what you've studied and what you've been able to discover and give them as a new tool to go on practicing. So I'd say the one thing that gets me out of bed or gets me to the university all the time is this potential to really innovate and make changes. What brought me to St. Louis? Well, I am a St. Louisan, and like all good St. Louisans, when I was young, I was dying to get out, but the St. Louis tractor beam seemed to reel me back in. And so right about when I started having a family, I decided to come back to St. Louis, mainly to be with my family and just to have kind of a nicer way of living and a nicer lifestyle. The other thing for me is that I do bleed blue, which means that I cry a lot because I'm a huge St. Louis Blues fan. And you probably should edit this out because if my wife finds out one of the big reasons for coming back was to follow the hockey team, I'd be in trouble. But yes, I am a huge St. Louis Blues fan, and I have to say that played not the most important part, but just a little bit of little part in bringing me back. Well, what I'd say to the coasters, because I talk to them a lot about this, is number one, you don't need to have an ocean to the right or to the left of you in order to have a exciting, life-fulfilling leisure time. There's lots of things to do in St. Louis, and while you can't go to the ocean in a couple hours, you can definitely find lots of other interesting things to do, like hiking and mountain biking. And I tell them don't limit themselves by your geography, because sometimes you really don't know what's there unless you take a look. My favorite part of working here has to be that You know, in emergency medicine, we've been able to build this, this collegiality among each other. And you kind of sense it, but you're maybe a little afraid to state it until someone comes by that really doesn't know you for a visit and they say, wow, you guys are all really collegial here and you guys seem like a really happy group. And I have to say that's one thing that's really struck me about my practice and has definitely kept me here, which is the ability of all our faculties to become more than just collaborators, fellow researchers, or fellow coworkers, but to become friends and people who allow you to develop not just as a professional, but as a person as well. I think one thing that should always be stated about practicing at Barnes Jewish Hospital here in St. Louis is that we have a diverse and exciting group of patients. One that I think is hard to match. While on some days it's just routine emergency medicine with its emergencies that we've all become accustomed to and know how to deal with. Occasionally, or I have to say even more than occasionally, the population keeps on impressing us with what they require from us. And that allows you to grow because you realize just what services you are capable of delivering. And you really see your training in full swing. And I think you have to be careful because sometimes you shy away from that and you're not really able to see what your full potential is. One thing about emergency medicine here at WashU is that it will not only let you realize your full potential, but it'll push you to places that really allow you to become a professional and really excellent emergency medicine physician.